The NBA has been a favourite sport of Americans for about 75 years, and in that time, the game that they know and love has spread into other areas of the world. Australia is a developing basketball nation, where the game is showing increased interest amongst the younger generation, and a high number of talented prospects either play or come from our shores. So in today's video, I'm going to be detailing how the NBA has expanded the marketing and reach of their league, and how Australians have accepted basketball more and more as one of our favourite sports. I'll also be detailing some of the marketing strategies used to implement the league, and the outlook of NBA Australia in the future. Before we begin, only about 8% of you guys actually subscribed, so I would greatly appreciate it if you'd hit that button today and join the Make It Rain army. TikTok and Discord links in the bio as always, and without further ado, let's get into it. The NBL was founded in 1979 and is the top league of basketball that can be played in Australia's borders. The peak or golden era of the league was in the late 80s to 90s, where players such as Andrew Gaze dominated. A number of talented players were in the league, but didn't transfer across to the NBA until the latter parts of their career, as the money wasn't as good back in those days. Luke Longley is an example of the first truly successful Aussie player, winning a three-peat with Michael Jordan in 1996 to 98. The NBL and Australian basketball took a back seat for a while, but lately with players such as Josh Giddey exceeding standards in both the National League and in the NBA, the NBL has become a breeding ground for young talent with big potential, and a stepping stone for overseas players to develop. Players such as LaMelo Ball, Usman Dieng, and even possibly Bronny James, the NBL has had a renaissance in the fact that it is now gaining more popularity back than it once maintained. This also allows an easier access for Australian players into the NBA, as there is more scouting, highlights, and stats shared on a daily basis from the NBL. Recently we saw Xavier Cooks, the NBL MVP, sign as a member of the Washington Wizards, a true example of the expansion of these limitations. It becomes an increasingly viable option for players who don't want to go to college, much like the G League across in America. With the expansion of the NBA empire, there are a number of Australian players from the 2000s to 2010s, such as Andrew Bogut, Aaron Baines, Mitch Creek, Dante Exum, Jonah Bolden, and Thon Maker, just to name a few. No true superstars, but players like Baines and Maker were solid role players, and Bogut was a champion and first overall pick during his time within the league. And as a sports-loving nation, even with these few role-playing icons and cult figures, we became heavily interested in this overseas league, everyone choosing their favourite team based on who that had the best Australian players. Me personally, I started following the NBA in 2016, where I picked to go for the Milwaukee Bucks based purely on the fact that they had Delly and Thon Maker in the lineup. Yes, I know, not the best Aussie players to select from, but that decision allowed me to celebrate a championship back in 2021, so it wasn't so bad looking back on it. I remember at school there were only a select few people who I could talk with about basketball, and now it seems like everyone has a team and player that they root for. This is a product of the NBA's marketing strategy. The NBA are masters of marketing one thing that everyone can relate to on one level or another, and that is individuals. Players, personalities, coaches, and the wider media surrounding the league. From Ja Morant to LeBron James to Steph Curry, we know these players like the back of our hand, and we relate to them in various ways. The league has so-called heroes, villains, a storyline, dramatic endings, and all this is shared around the world in real time, almost 24/7. The media is a massive part of this process, from shows on ESPN to media entities like House of Highlights and Bleacher Report, to smaller content creators like King of the Fourth Quarter and Alex Hoops, a couple of my favourites. Everyone gives their latest input and reaction to every little occurrence of action throughout the season, allowing the reach to as many fans as possible to be imminent. These marketing strategies have seen utmost success in the Australian basketball system. Relating not only to the NBL but the NBA as well, over 1.3 million Australians played organised basketball according to Basketball Australia. It's worth noting that the 2020-21 Olympic Games in Tokyo, where Australia placed third, showed how far our nation has come in a competitive sense, but it also helped growth, with 839,000 total page views on the Olympic Hub website during the Boomers campaign. In Australians aged 16 to 24, over 22% would consider themselves NBA fanatics, a high percentage in the Premier League, F1 and NFL. Over 27% of that same age range participate in basketball on a regular basis. This is a dramatic increase from 15% in 2016. There was also a 35% increase in viewership from 2021. The hype and excitement of the NBA is at a global scale, and compared to leagues such as the AFL, the excitement of meeting a player, getting an autograph, attending a game is much rarer and special in this aspect. But how does this growth look heading into the future? With 370 players in the US college system last year, and with many more playing in both the NBL and overseas, We will see an influx of Australian ball players in the NBA. The NBA in general will become littered with more international players, and this only helps the spread of the league heading into the future. Players currently in the NBA of Australian nationality include Jack White, Matisse Thybulle, Ben Simmons, Patty Mills, Jock Landale, Matthew Dellavedova, Joe Ingles, Josh Green, Josh Giddey, Dyson Daniels and Xavier Cooks. There will soon be a day where that list is too long to remember, and that's a day that I fully embrace as a fan. With more Australian players, the more Australians root for those players, and the more kids who have dreams of playing in the NBA one day. It's exponential growth at its finest, and I dream of a day in which an Australian superstar leads an NBA team to the ultimate glory, a championship victory. Well, that is how the NBA has become so popular in Australia, particularly in the last 5 years or so. Hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, make sure to leave a like down below. It lets me know what type of videos you guys enjoy for future reference. Let me know your thoughts on the spread of the NBA in Australia down below. Check out the Discord and TikTok, links in the bio, and make sure to subscribe for future sports field content. Have a good one, and cheers.